Okay, we're live. It is warm, but this shouldn't be too long of an episode. I mean, full disclosure, we're getting to the warmer time, and I don't see or foresee any issue wearing boots in the next couple of weeks, but going the full 8 weeks might not happen literally this time. And I had been wearing the cut to the chase, the boots that aren't even in the original list. I didn't bother to list the alternates this time because I haven't worn any of them. And I've only worn two boots from the list, pairs that is. So here we are. So week coming to you live from a airport runway in Ontario, right? So I had gotten the new pair of the President model, like I said in the last bits, that I've been subbing in, wearing pretty often. In the previous episode, I forgot to try and show the inside where the foam on the right boot had really kind of rumpled, and I don't know if the camera will show it. I don't know, it did that from the heat or if it was already like that and I just didn't notice it. Now the silver spray paint or whatever has also completely kind of gone out of focus from rubbing against the socks. So yeah, these boots were not on the list. These are the President and I always say the wrong color. I think they're the brandy, not the whiskey. Okay. President, Hero, and Captain all fit different in same size, apparently. Okay, I went over this last time a bit. The new Brandy President just dyed my socks like crazy, so I want to show my socks. Rumpled right foot, forgot to show last time. I just got a new pair of the President models. I'd say Thirsty needs to, okay, I said this in the last one, we'll say it again. Thirsty needs to rethink their best of the bottom business model strategy and do a lot better, even if it means raising the price finally to meet the market value, cost, whatever. The Captains I got in the warehouse sale in the new last still don't fit great without thick socks, which I'll get to that in a minute. So they'll be shelved. And these socks have dye on them too, and I don't think I wore them with those boots, so I think that the Captain boots actually dyed my socks as well, but not as badly, because it was the inside of the leather instead of the lining leather, so I don't know if they both get dyed the same way. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I'm wearing the thicker socks right now that I wouldn't even try to fit in this boot. So let me talk about that issue 2 in a minute. Preamble. Sorry, but I'm trying to read the thing first before I get into the actual boots. But they will be shelved soon enough for the season 2, whereas the ones I got sooner that I thought should fit too small are still much closer to the correct size and fit, so I can wear them with, again, regular socks, athletic socks, as opposed to thicker athletic socks. I don't know that all the new ones have the leather lining over the footbed now either. Yeah, this had kind of a standard feel, whereas these ones had more of a kind of a fabric-y feel or something. Or maybe it was a different pair. I forget. This is smooth in here, though. Might have been a different pair. How much is it going to cost to redo the insoles with leather versus buy any other brand? I had asked that of shoe guy Oliver, and he did not get back to me, but in his video he did list some kind of ballpark cost right after I typed that. So I guess if you're willing to spend $400 maybe to get a pair of Thursday boots turned into more like a pair of Red Wing boots or something, it might be cost effective to do that. Strictly because the Red Wing boots don't all have the same insides as they should or used to or something. And I had trouble with the fit of them a bit more, but these didn't fit great. Whereas the Blacksmiths ones, if I went up a size or a half a size, maybe they would fit fine. And required slightly less work going forward. I don't know, but you'd still have to tear apart a fair amount of it to replace the fiber board or whatever is inside the blacksmith somewhere. I don't remember all the details. Rose Anvil just did a video about that, and I haven't watched it yet. Oh, and add another leather heel counter instead of this. He was talking about that would be costly, but that this eventually will disintegrate, and so maybe it would be worth it for you to do it if you were doing a whole overhaul. But most people don't want to do a whole overhaul, you know, right away, but because they like this outsole or whatever, you know, all this variables. So then the one guy says, I think it was him, says also make sure you're conditioning inside if it is a leather footbed. But he doesn't specify if it's the same wax that the beeswax would work inside or if you should use some other product. So that was about all I had for boot talk, was just those couple extra questions that, again, he didn't answer. Sorry, I'm trying to close out of it. Okay. The overlooked aspect. See this, it's a little bit of a lining over the foam though. It's not like a Red Wing boot or something where you have a full leather footbed in there that, whereas if this dries out and cracks, it's not going to be a big deal because the foam is going to disintegrate too, and you're going to have to replace the whole deal if you bother. So let me just show the socks real quick. The one pair, again, had gotten stamped, not from the Thursday boots, but from the insoles from the other. So that's not part of it. But this one, the dye mostly came out in the wash. I just washed these last night. And so you can still see maybe a little bit of, you know, along the edge there. But some of that could be sweat stain mingled with dirt or whatever. But this one, it still has a whole bunch of where it rubbed. And that is not dirt. That wasn't like wearing them out in the wilderness or digging trenches or anything. This one, most of the dye kind of washed out. You can still see a little bit here and there. And then this other pair, but this pair I had mostly worn with the Oak Street boots, which we'll talk about sooner than later. And I don't think most of the dye came from that. This, again, did dye a bit. You can see it here and there, like that over the toe area. This one. So I wore a couple different pairs of socks and ended up with kind of the same result. And the laundry didn't get it all out. And the ones that I'm wearing have less, but again, probably came from the other boots. So the 3 boots was, you know, again, mostly the boots that aren't on the list, which again is the Thursday president. And so we'll show these a bit first. And so they have a bit of scuffing and wear and tear, even though they're only about a month old now. But I've been wearing them pretty regularly every week. The laces are doing better than I thought they would do, but I do double knot them because the first time I tied them, they came right untied of their own volition. This is the left one, which doesn't have as much crumpling, but you can see it is getting, and this is sweat stains from like the last couple days, or this is where the dye has rubbed off. A little bit of both maybe, because I didn't wear these today, so they should be dry. That shouldn't be any wet. That black area or darker areas shouldn't be, you know, moisture or anything. And there's a bit of kind of dust accumulating in here that might be from the spray paint, but might be from the socks. I'm not entirely sure what that is. And then they have kind of a burnished toe, but not super different color like some of the ones you'll see. They're mostly uniform in color. But you think you could make them look more burnished if you really worked at it with some ink oil or something, if you like that look. I don't usually bother with that kind of thing. But they got a bit scratched up from, you know, rubbing against even soft pants, because I'm wearing lightweight twill pants most of the time, not rugged denim. There's not a big heavy seam kind of gouging them like that. It's just a pair of cargo pants that I've shown. They're not heavy duty twill or anything. They're a nice weight for warm weather. The outsoles are starting to show a bit of wear, mostly in the heel. You can see where they're starting to show a little bit from the regular pronation on the outside of the heel cap. I don't have a really weird gait or anything. I'm pretty uniform. The one will wear a little faster than the other, but most of the wear will be in the heel. And I think the right side will be a little more worn down than the left, but yeah, a smidge. Maybe a smidge on the right side worn out on the, you can see the diagonal, but you know, I haven't worn them all day, every day in, you know, a couple weeks of wear anyway. But they do have a little bit of wrinkling and creasing kind of starting, and a bit of scuffing that happened pretty much on the first day, some of it. So I think, so like I said, yeah, I think these are, you know, kind of just by default being my daily drivers more than the others, because the weight of the socks and the insole of the other ones. Then last weekend it was really extra warm, so it was actually not boots at all. I still haven't managed to kill these yet, but I haven't been wearing them again either as daily drivers. The outsoles are still mostly fine. The one's a little bit more paper thin than the other one, but not a total. But I think like a pair of Vans, this canvas is just going to disintegrate before the bottom ever wears out. And they're a little more cushiony than a pair of Converse All-Stars. So they're not super flat, like walking straight on the pavement completely immediately yet. But so I don't know if you want to say they're better or worse than a pair of Vans. Maybe they're slightly better. I think they cost more. But I do like laces usually more than slip-ons now. But again, Converse with the rubber toes, that part usually lasts pretty long, whereas a pair of Vans will go out in the toes, whereas this doesn't have that problem. It's the sides that are splitting. So overall, I guess I got my money's worth, considering I've had them for a few years already and haven't really worn them that much. But again, I'll be wearing them, more soon. I can get the light to show that, you can't really see, but you can feel, especially on the one where, the foam is really starting to flatten out. And then the parts where your foot aren't, it still has more foam. So that's just normal. And then the other one. There's been no issues with the tongue or anything. The laces, I double tie these laces also, though. These laces aren't perfect for staying tied. This, I don't know if it needed this too much, but I guess I still use it a little bit. Although it does detract or, from the clean line look with these extra pull tab things. So, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could remove that. I haven't bothered, obviously. It matches the laces, if nothing else, but it does add kind of a, like I said, a bit more cluttered look. These, on the other hand, have a bit more support to them, and they're leather, and, they still have a sneaker outsole, kind of. But these are just kind of your basic boat shoes in a two-tone. So these are getting a bit of wear now in spring when I want something that isn't a sneaker. And again, they're pretty nice. I went for a really long walk in the other ones the other day to, again, get my money's worth when I probably should have worn the Oak Street boots. But I didn't. So the next time I go for a really long walk, I'll probably take those and see how the insoles really do. But of course, these fit more true to size than most of my boots. So that's the nice thing about LL Bean is their shoes run pretty much true to size. And these aren't boots, of course, so they're not part of the challenge. They're just weekend shoes, or however you want to characterize them, casual, you know, yada, yada, yada. But again, this is what I'm going to be going to more often than boots very soon, or boots might be out of the running altogether. So the other pair, again, was the Captain Capto with the wax splash. And they're not going to show. I literally wore them today for a couple hours, but I only threw them on today so I could add them to this week's list. Last week, they started the week, and then I switched to the Oak Street maybe for about the same amount of time, and then I switched again back to the President model for most of the week before it got all hot, and I switched to sneakers. So yeah, again, not a lot of wear and tear on these in, you know, 2 days of wear in 2 weeks or whatever it was, or 3. Yeah, I think 3. I might wear these again tomorrow just to use these socks again before I wash them. They do have a bit of, you know, wear and tear. They have the Kevlar laces, which on this model is not too long. It's still a little long. I still double tie them. I've been using the speed hooks. A lot of times I'll skip the top eyelid or speed hook, but lately I've been eyeliding or hooking them all the way up just because I'm doing this kind of video series. I guess I can show a little bit of the sort of rumpling of the lining leather too of this other type, whereas this does not have any lining. If I can get the camera to play along. So yeah, you've got a little bit more of a straightforward old style thing, but again, the spray paint is still intact, even though I've had these longer. The or whatever that silver is. The insole is the main thing. The difference with these two has been the width. Again, I was complaining that these were a little too wide and I needed the thicker sock. These were a little too narrow, so my feet were, especially last night, my left toe was feeling smashed because what had been happening is it's not sitting on top of the foam because the foam bed isn't wide enough. So it's going in between like the welt and the seam or whatever, and the insole and the outer vamp, and getting smashed in there on the 1 foot, while at the same time, you know, the foam is still mostly cushiony, but it's less cushiony than maybe this outsole is. This one is a little more, you feel the asphalt. This one you're feeling a little bit more of the outsole because it has a little bit more of that luggy traction elevation. So yeah, so I was really uncomfortable at the end of the day, and when I came back in this one, right in here area, because yeah, they just made them too long and too skinny. So I don't know if I can get this shortened a little bit if I get them redone, or if they can be widened at all. Just not the most perfect fit, even though they're literally the same size. They're both stamped as the same size. So this one has a little bit of scuffing, but all that wax and stuff hasn't worked its way off yet because, again, I haven't worn them that much. And I've tried to, and this one has a bit more damage on the toe. This other one had damage on the toe, but I took a Sharpie and colored over it, so you can't really see it. And this one had less, but you can see it a little bit more. If I can, you can see maybe. Not too much. I took a Sharpie and colored it back in, so it's just that one little speck that's really noticeable. Whereas these, yeah, they just look biffed, right? There's not much I can do about this. Is where the leather's been cut by the gate, so it's just got a bad spot. But again, the welt, pretty much similar, but the heel slightly higher tiny bit enough. I mean, I don't have it exactly even, but even enough. Yeah. So you have a little bit, like I said, a little bit more between you and the street with these. But they're still kind of meant to be more look like a hiking boot than a office casual boot. All that sort of thing. And so, yeah. So that's boot number 2, and boot number 3 is that I guess I can show the indentation of the toe before the toe cap area and all that. And no pull tabs on the back, just the back stays. No seam up the back either, whereas these have that seam where they've made them more narrow on the heel caps. So yeah, I don't like that they've made these even more narrow than they already were or whatever in the previous iteration. So bringing us to finally boot number 3 or 2, if out of the actual challenge. Like I said, I'm just going to eliminate one of the other boots from the actual challenge and call those the ones that I'm wearing, because even if they're smashing my foot, they're still going to be the ones that I'm wearing. Oh, hi, Rich. Thanks for the endorsement yesterday, by the way. If you're still watching, no, he logged out already. He just came in to congratulate me for doing a video. I don't know if that stuff shows up in the comments or what. I left the chat on in case anybody wanted to chime in with questions rather than waiting till the end, but I know it's kind of the part of the day when you might still be in your car or whatever, or eating dinner. Or watching hockey, which I'm missing right now, but it's not an elimination game, so we'll deal with it. But overall, this boot, like I said, yeah, it got like 2 days of wear maybe last week. So it's not going to show a ton of additional wear. So there's nothing really to discuss with it. And I promised the other guy that they were in the rotation and I was going to be wearing them going forward. So yeah, like I said, I'll be probably shelving these for good and switching between these and the Presidents. Again, if I'm doing a longer walk or something, I want to really try these out with the extra arch support insole in them. And maybe my feet will be feeling better by the end of those kind of walks, or maybe I'll find them completely annoying in some new and unique way. I don't know. but I do need to, test that arch support out too, because as I had said in the previous video, I might invest in some of the leather arch supports, but they cost like $100, whereas these was like 2 or 3 for $20 or something. So, it's 5 times the amount or whatever for a boot that I like the way they look and everything, but I'm not sure I would make them automatically my daily drivers. Again, they do have the wrong outsole on them for outdoor, like hiking, wilderness kind of use. So I wanted to use them as much as possible on asphalt and get, the money's worth again out of the outsoles before I switched them to something, more like this. So maybe by end of summer or sooner, depending on how well these do. Again, I haven't, but again, when I had the chance to take them for a long walk the other day, I didn't. So, we'll see. We're playing it by ear with this channel and all that. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know what to really show, like I said, about these that isn't so much in the previous video where I talked about them a little more extensively and wore them, I think, a bit more or slightly more or whatever. So yeah, we're almost at 30 minutes. So that's pretty much like it for this. Like I said, the next episode, if I try to slot in a couple of those other pairs, if it's not too hot, because I still have the Oliver Cabell. Okay, consider those shelved. This is the Oliver Cabell now. Forget that. I'm not wearing the Oliver Cabells. Thursday, Captain Capto, right? Response gear, the side zip tactical. If I go hiking and stuff, I will be wearing those. And then I've got the 10-inch mahogany Packers. That's what's going to kind of like, if I feel like wearing them when it's hot, maybe. Oak Street Camp, Moccasin. Then I have the SG CHUKKA Tan Desert, the Sportsman's Guide ones. Those I will likely slot in sooner than later. Whereas the whites, Hathorne, lace to toe, I could wear those hiking instead of the zipper ones, but again, the zipper ones are the nylon and those are leather, so it would depend on the weather or the heat. And then the Thorogood 8-inch mock toe, you know, I thought about wearing those today, and then I grabbed these instead. So they were close. They almost got the nod. Yeah, so we'll see next week. Maybe I'll wear the Thorogoods and the Nicks just to get them in, because the whole point of this challenge was to try and get more boots in, especially boots that I hadn't really broken in yet, that sort of thing. Anyway, so if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. Oh, somebody just clicked in just as I'm signing off. Well, you can see it soon enough. As always, yeah, you can buy me a coffee or a pizza or help finance other products or projects. Oh, they clicked out again already. Thanks for your interest, I guess. And of course, as always, the boycott Tinder. I just did a really long video about that yesterday, so I'm not going to go into all that now. And just, you get the idea if you're really interested.